Red flag number one. I say that red flag number one. There's no official trail. That means you're not supposed to be there.
I go where I want and I do what I want. My belt match the kicks. Don't you go bonner.
NT gang, man. You know what I'm saying? We back with another one, man. And I just want to say that I started this MrBallen series, you know what I'm saying, during Halloween. And I didn't know it was gonna be this dope, and now I'm hooked. So if y'all here with me, let's go, man. This one's gonna be called She Ignored the Warning Siren. So let's go. Stick around very end. Okay.
In 2017, a group
And let me know, his advertisers be hecka funny too, man. You know what I'm saying? So let's go.
of 7 friends were wandering through this forest in New Zealand trying to get to this secret swimming spot. And as they're walking along this dirt trail far away from the road and there's no one near them, they suddenly hear this high-pitched, shrill siren sound coming from somewhere off in the forest. And so the group stops, they're listening to the siren, and eventually, after about 30 seconds, the siren stops. And at that point, these 7 friends begin exchanging very curious looks about what they just heard, but ultimately, they shrug it off and just keep on walking. Little did they know, that siren was trying to tell them to turn around and go the other way. But before we get into that story,
that's
if
crazy.
you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious...
Hey, you guys ever notice, like, well, me personally, I have my headphones on, and sometimes, and when I look around, because sometimes I can't hear, and if you just see people talking, or I immediately turn around to look or see, like, you know, what's going around me, because you don't know, it could be a car coming, it could be anything, like, you know, so that's crazy. When they heard the sirens, they didn't think, hey, maybe that might be something. 7 of you guys? That's crazy. 7 of you.
Mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place.
Well, MrBallen is interesting, so let's see how he tells this story.
So, if that's of interest to you, please send the like button a beautifully wrapped gift for their birthday, but fill the gift with a spring-loaded boxing glove that punches them right in the face when they open it. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story.
Okay, Siren.
On the morning of Monday, February 6th, 2017, a group of 7 friends who were all college-aged and living in New Zealand began packing up their cars and getting ready to drive back to Auckland, the biggest city in New Zealand. The night before, the group had been out on Lake Tikitapu for a big concert called Floatcella, where audience members would listen to the music while floating around on big blow-up rafts and floats.
That sounds dope, by the way. Floatcella. I've never even heard of that. That sounds kind of cool.
After the concert had ended, the group of friends had left the lake and headed to a nearby relative's house where they had a quiet after party with a couple of drinks, and then everyone went to bed a little bit after midnight. This morning, the group had gotten up early because they wanted to get on the road as soon as possible to try to beat the holiday traffic that was sure to crop up that day on the way back to Auckland. February 6th is a big national holiday in New Zealand. It's called Waitangi Day, and it's to commemorate the initial signing of the Treaty of Waitangi, which is considered to be the founding document of the country. But right as the 7 friends had finished packing up their 3...
I actually didn't know that. It's kind of cool when you like listen to stories like that and you get more insights on the people's other cultures and everything like that. I didn't even know they were still under the reign of the queen until she died. So like learning stuff like that is kind of interesting.
Cars and were getting ready to begin their 3-hour drive north to Auckland, one of the friends, a 21-year-old named Rachel de Jong, suggested they take a quick detour before they head back home. Rachel, along with another girl in this group of friends named Maddie, had several months earlier discovered this secret swimming spot that was located only about 15 minutes away from where they were now, and it happened to be on the way back to Auckland. This swimming spot was this beautiful green-blue pool of fairly deep water that was located in the middle of a forest. This pool was actually a...
Now, I've heard a lot of dumb stories so far from the MrBallen series, and like how they always have like gotta go past gated community, gated fences and barbed wire. But honestly, this is the first time I've actually seen the picture of the location they're going to, and thought it was actually beautiful. Like myself personally would want to go to it. So let me know in the comments if you know what I'm saying, that's the first time for you as well.
Part of the Waikato River. However, this stretch of the river where the pool was either very shallow or dry most of the time. So as a result, this pool actually looked like a standalone body of water. While there was no
Okay.
official trail that led through the forest to this pool of water,
Red flag number one. I say that red flag number one. There's no official trail. That means you're not supposed to be there.
there was an unofficial trail. It was basically a dirt trail that cut through the woods that had formed over the years of locals tromping
not
their
the real
way to
photo.
this pool of water. After hearing Rachel's suggestion, the group of friends all agreed that this sounded like a great idea. And so the group piled into their 3 cars, and then by around 11:40 a.m., Rachel and Maddie had directed the convoy all the way to the start of this unofficial dirt trail, which was located right on the side of a winding main road. After pulling their cars safely off to the side of the road, the group got out, and then Rachel and Maddie led them to the start of this trail, and they began walking through the forest. 15 minutes later, at 11:55 a.m., the group was getting very close to the water because the trees up ahead were starting to thin out. But also at 11:55 a.m., the group suddenly stopped because from somewhere out in the forest, way off in front of them, came this loud, shrill siren sound. And it went on for nearly 20 or 30 seconds.
Absolutely not. See, red flag right there. I'm sorry. Yeah. As soon as I hear absolutely not. I'm not going any further. Sorry.
And then it just came to a stop. And the group kind of looked around at each other. No one knew what to make of the siren. And so eventually they just kind of shrugged it off and kept on walking. Within a minute of that siren sound coming to an end, the group had made it to the end of this unofficial dirt track, which placed them at the edge of this beautiful overlook down to the pool they were going to swim in. And so they began one by one climbing down the rocks in front of them, where there were some ropes that had been put up to help people climb down to the water. And so after they got down to the water, all of them stripped down to their bathing suits. They jumped into the pool and they began swimming out towards the center of the pool, where there were these 2 big rocks that jutted up out of the water, almost like miniature islands. And so Rachel and the other women, so 5 of them, they climbed onto one of the rocks, and the 2 men who were part of this group climbed onto the other rock. And so they got up onto these rocks and they're looking around, taking in the sights. And then at 11:58 a.m., another siren blasts across the forest. It's the same sound as the one they heard 3 minutes.
Why am I starting to think something weird? Like maybe the siren is for like letting you know it's going to be high tide, or maybe they're letting you know about a common phenomenon that happens in the area that they're not familiar with. Let me know in the comments what you think it could be, because it's not like they have like a monster there or something. They're like, well, at 12 o'clock, the monster comes. So it can't be something like that. But I'm thinking like high tide or something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
Earlier when they were on the dirt track. And so once again, all 7 of them are kind of looking at each other, wondering, what is this siren about? But after the 20 or 30-second long siren came to an end, they glanced around them and there was no sign of any danger. There was no sign of really anything happening at all. It was just this beautiful, peaceful seeming oasis. And so before long, they had forgotten about the siren again, and Rachel had gotten out her camera and she was taking pictures, and others were taking pictures as well. And then 2 minutes later at 12 p.m., the siren sounded for a 3rd time. Now, at this point, the group has heard the siren 2 other times. And even though the sound of the siren was kind of jarring because it was so high-pitched and shrill and really cut into their ears, this time, because they've heard it 2 other times and nothing happened, they all pretty much immediately wrote it off. So the siren's sounding for the 3rd time, and the group is not really paying.
See, I don't know where these people are from or anything like that, but I would think that the more times you hear the siren, that means it's not supposed. That's like more of a warning for you to like not be there. Like it's just common. There's 7 of you guys. Like
attention.
Not one person thought of
when
that.
the siren finally stops this 3rd time, something very different began to happen, and the group immediately noticed it.
What?
Now, I know everyone has a lot to do to prepare for international and Orinoco River basins in South America petting truck.
That's crazy. I like MrBallen, but I don't really want to watch the VPN commercial. Sorry about that.
In effect was upstream,
But
in
let's
effect
go ahead
coming
and
from,
get back.
which in effect was upstream.
Okay.
Even though this river was basically dry, they could turn and look uphill, and they could clearly see where the river would go if it was full. And so the friends turn and look upstream, and they're listening to this really loud kind of smashing sound that's coming from that direction, and they're exchanging curious looks at each other,
That's
trying
water.
to figure out what that sound could be.
That's the tide.
And all of a sudden, they see it. A white wall of water comes crashing around the corner and began barreling straight down the riverbed towards them. By the time the friends had even processed what they were seeing, the water had reached the pool they were in, and it was flooding the pool so quickly they could literally see this huge pool rising. Its water levels were going up and up and up all around them. And so as the rocks they're standing on began to slowly submerge under all this rising water, the group collectively decided that this can't go on for very long. Whatever this is, it's going to stop, so just stay put, stay on these rocks, we're going to be okay. However, with
I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna call anybody like names or anything like that, like they're stupid, but the common sense seems to be a little lacking here. They said there was three sirens that now you realize were distinctively were to make sure you didn't go there, be in this situation. And then the first thought in your head is that this water is not going to last that long. Like, I don't think that's why they had the sirens. Like, that's just me personally.
Within seconds, the rocks they were on were completely submerged, and the water was still tumbling down the hill towards their pool and then spilling out over the other side down the other end of the riverbed. And they're thinking to themselves, if we don't get off these rocks soon, we're going to get swept downstream with this water.
Yeah,
And so the two men who were on their own rock, they leapt to a rocky outcropping that was slightly higher up and was connected back up to the forest. And so this rocky outcropping represented safety. And so once they were up there, they turned around and they yelled to the five women still stranded on their rock to try to swim over to them, and the guys would grab them and pull them to safety. But by this point, the girls are looking around, the water's up to their knees, and it's rushing past them. They can barely keep their balance. They know if they attempt to swim in this water, they're going to immediately be taken downstream with it. And so the group very quickly decides their only choice is for the women to literally jump and grab the men who have their arms outstretched for them. And so Rachel DeJong, she was the first one to try this. She leaps off the rock, she grabs the guy's arms, and she gets pulled to safety. And then she turns around and she...
Ooh, I was like, ooh, okay. Okay, so they got action. They got action. Because I was like, that's some dangerous stuff. You really got to trust somebody. Okay.
And the other two men continue to get the women to jump off the rock to them. And at first, it's going fairly well until they get down to the second to last woman who leaps. She grabs one of the guy's arms, and then both of them lose their footing. And the guy and the woman, they both get swept away downstream. They're gone. Rachel stays calm, and she moves to the position where the guy...
That's gotta be wow. That's gotta be wow. You just like trying to help, and then both of them, you just see them gone. Like, oh, what are you? And that's your people. That's your friends. Like, wow, that's, and you can't go in that water and get them because that's no.
I had been, who just got swept away, and she takes out her GoPro camera selfie stick and she extends it out to the last woman who's out on the rock. Her name is Alice. And she tells Alice, jump and grab the selfie stick. And so Alice, who's almost completely submerged in water now, makes this frantic jump to grab onto the selfie stick. She grabs it for a second, but then loses her grip and she begins being swept away. And Rachel, who at this point was completely safe, immediately jumped into the rapids after Alice. She grabbed Alice.
Real friend, man. That's a real friend, man. That man, shout out Rachel, man. That's a real friend because you was completely safe and you was like, nope, I got to make sure we come home, not just me. There's not a lot of people out there like her, man. That's what's up.
Attempted to turn around and grab the rock to stop them, but she couldn't get a grip. And she and Alice were also swept downstream out of view. 2 weeks before Rachel, Maddie, Alice, and the others had gone to this secret swimming spot, a warning sign, like a physical warning sign that warned people not to go near this river, don't go near this pool, was stolen. And that warning sign was normally placed at the very beginning.
Wow, this ain't even human error. This is just, wow, the sign, wow. Because remember, like all the other MrBallens we watched, like they usually say there's a big fence and barbed wire and it was electrocuted fence and people still find a way past it. It was like, nope, there was just an unofficial trail and the sign was stolen. That's crazy.
Beginning of that unofficial dirt track that the seven friends took to get to the pool. Meaning, when the seven friends got out of their cars and began hiking into the forest to go to this pool, they would not have understood the danger of where they were going. Now,
how are they going to understand danger like that?
Rachel and Maddie had previously discovered this swim spot several months earlier. However, it seems like they had just learned that this swim spot existed and how to get to it. It did not seem like they had literally walked this trail and gotten to the pool, and so very likely they would not have known about the dangers this place posed. The pool of water they were swimming in was not actually dangerous itself. It was only dangerous because the pool was located in the middle of a spill zone. About 650 feet upstream of the pool they were swimming in is a dam, and 3 to 4 times a day, they open their gates, releasing 20,000 gallons of water per second down this mostly dry riverbed, and the water comes careening across that pool all the way
And that sign was going to let them know.
to the bottom. The gates stay open for about 15 minutes, and the only reason this is done is for the spectacle of it. It's to show tourists what this riverbed looked like before the dam was built. And what this riverbed looked like before the dam was built was a raging rapid. On February 6th, 2017, the dam was set to spill at 12 p.m. So those sirens the friends heard at 11:55, 11:58, and then 12 were all warnings that a spill was about to occur. But of course, the 7 friends had no idea. After the 12 p.m. spill had finally ended, the 3 friends who had made it to the rocky outcropping and had not been swept away by the current went looking for the 4 other friends who had been swept away, and they would find them. 3 had miraculously survived,
Okay.
but 1 had not. The sole
Rachel.
fatality was 21-year-old Rachel DeJong, whose idea it was to come and...
Man, that's crazy, man. The one person, well, not the one person, but you had your friends back, though, like, you know what I'm saying, and you died. But like you said, it was your idea to go there, but I don't think it's anybody's fault. I'm just saying that just sucks.
swim at this spot in the first place. Rachel also was the woman who had left safety and jumped back into the rapids to attempt to save her friend Alice. Today, there are many more warning signs and fences that have been put up around the Waikato River to prevent people from getting too close, because the dam still, despite the fatality, spills several times a day. However, despite all these precautions and all the notoriety around Rachel's death, people still today sneak in and go swimming in that secret pool.
That's crazy.
So that's going to do it. If you got something...
All right, man. That's NT Gang, man. We're back on this MrBallen, man. Let me know in the comments which is the next one we're going to get onto. But I'll catch y'all again, man, with another one again tomorrow.